The King of Fighters series is not only known for its amazing gameplay, but also its amazing lore. Each character is given a backstory that is somehow relevant to the main storyline. This makes it to where the people who play these games become very invested in certain characters. This presents a strength and a weakness. It presents a strength because when those who are playing are connected to their characters, they become extremely invested in them. But it also presents a weakness because then you can't really identify who is better than who. In this video, I want to focus on the Orochi saga, King of Fighters 95, 96, and 97, and why I am of the belief that the Orochis are not as strong as they seem.
They're back to will answer the advanced research.
If you're one of the 5 people who have never heard of the King of Fighters series, it was created by Takashi Nishiyama, the actual director of the original Street Fighter, and he wanted his characters to have extensive backgrounds so that people could be more connected with the characters. But because of the limitations at the time, they could not do this. This was something that he remedied in his new series, Fatal Fury. When he created Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, and the rest of them, he gave extensive backstories outside of the game so that people could know why these people were fighting. He did the same thing when he created Art of Fighting. So now you have a crossover in Fatal Fury 3 with Ryo Sakazaki and Terry Bogard. They took it a step further when they created King of Fighters 94, and they crossed over all of SNK's franchises. You're talking Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting, Psycho Soldiers, Ikari Warriors. Everyone had a place in this game. But Nishiyama did something interesting by having the protagonist of King of Fighters be a completely separate character in Kyo Kusanagi. That way, all the fans could still have their favorites from Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting and such, and still be connected to this new story. A pretty good excuse to talk about how these characters who previously won all these fights don't win any tournaments. It's simple. The story's not about them anymore. It doesn't matter that they're strong or not. They're just not the main characters. SNK's cheesy dialogue doesn't help this either because every character, no matter how strong or weak, will constantly talk trash to the next person. I mean, how am I supposed to gauge a lore tier list when you've got characters like Hua Jai not in fear in the slightest of Psyche? Yet, I'm going to try and do it anyway. So, fast forward to King of Fighters 97. The basic gist of the story is that thousands of years ago, Earth's will was that humans who are a big problem need to be rid of. So Orochi is the manifestation of that will. The people who joined Orochi's will would be known as the Hakkeshu. The strongest 4 Hakkeshu are called the 4 Heavenly Kings. A couple thousand years ago, you had the 3 clans, the Yada clan, the Yasakani clan, and the Kusanagi, who sealed Orochi away. Fast forward, and the Hakkeshu decide to divide these clans up in the easiest way possible. Kill one of the wives, and then blame the other. So, one of the Yasakani wives dies, they blame the Kusanagis, and now they're at war. And Yasakani clan doesn't just go to war, no, they make a deal with Orochi, have their flames turn purple, and then they change their name to Yagami, which means 8 gods. Orochi having 8 heads, they do a forbidden technique, it all has to do with the number 8. In our current story, you've got Kyo Kusanagi, the heir to the Kusanagi clan, Iori Yagami, the last remaining Yagami because of the curse, and then you've got Chizuru Kagura, the head of the Yada clan. All 3 of them are present in this tournament. Through some wacky circumstances, you also have 3 of the 4 Heavenly Kings also present and after Iori in this tournament. The 4th Heavenly King was killed in the last game, or rather, he killed himself after Kyo, Iori, and Chizuru defeated him. Now, this is where things get interesting. We talk about the 3 remaining Heavenly Kings, Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris. Now, these 3 apparently had no idea that they were even members of the Hakkeshu. They just wanted to get back at Iori for taking their spot in a concert. However, during the tournament, they awakened and they found out that they were supposed to revive their lord Orochi. So they began using energy from the King of Fighters tournament to try and revive Orochi as planned. But everything in the story shows that things did not go as planned. Not only did they not get Kyo's girlfriend, who they needed as a sacrifice to revive Orochi, but they did not even gather enough energy in order to revive Orochi himself. So they ended up sacrificing their own bodies in order to revive Orochi. Yashiro kills Shermie, uses her life, and then kills himself and uses his energy. And because they could not sacrifice Yuki, they actually used Chris's body in order to bring back Orochi. Now, Orochi was not as powerful as he had hoped because this is not the body that he wanted. However, it is still stated that Orochi is the strongest character in the SNK canon. Now, here is where the discrepancy comes in. If you have a mission to revive Orochi, and you do not get to revive Orochi as you stated, why did they not do it? They didn't do it because either the characters were so weak that they could not get the energy, or perhaps the people were too strong for you. Now, we could say that the roster was so weak that they just didn't have the energy needed. That's possible, but is it even probable considering the fact that you've got characters like Kyo, Benimaru, Terry, Andy, Joe, Ryo, Robert, Leona, Ralph, and Clark, Athena, Mai, Chizuru. All of these characters exist in this tournament, yet all of them are going to be so weak, but Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris, three characters who have had zero fighting experience, would be so unbelievably powerful that their sacrifice alone would be able to revive Orochi. Not to mention the fact that during the tournament, it is canonically stated that Iori and Leona entered the Riot of the Blood Act, and they were fighting as well. So even their energy would have to be said to be so weak that only Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris's energy were the ones necessary for Orochi. It just makes it questionable that these three, who entered with the main purpose of defeating Iori, they didn't do that, and then when they awakened, they entered with the main purpose of kidnapping Kyo's girlfriend and gathering energy from fighters. They didn't do that either. Now let's talk about Orochi. The three sacred treasures, Kyo, Iori, and Chizuru, come together again, and you would think that they would not be able to handle this force. Well, they did. They not only defeated Orochi, but afterwards, Orochi decided to try and have Iori enter the Riot of Blood in order to help him win. And with that, Iori still attacked Orochi afterwards, began choking him, and then Kyo finished Orochi off, and they sealed him away again, destroying the body of Chris in the process. So let's take a look at the members of the Hakusho. You've got Vice and Mature, killed by Iori during the Riot of Blood. You've got Genitz, killed by Iori, Chizuru, and Kyo. And then you've got Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris. Yashiro and Shermie sacrificed themselves so that Orochi could be revived in Chris's body, and Chizuru, Iori, and Kyo killed Chris because Orochi was using his body. Where's the ultimate power from the four heavenly kings? Canonically, they have 0 wins on their record. They have defeated no one. Now, they do have impressive feats as far as being able to wield fire, being able to throw lightning, being able to control earth. But if we look at the King of Fighters roster, there are others who can do these kinds of things with no connection to Orochi. Shermie's move here is a copy of Benimaru's move, and Benimaru spends his time modeling. Now mind you, I am not declaring that the Orochi fighters are weak by any means. What I am saying is that when you've got heavy hitters like Athena and Kyo and Terry and Iori and all of these people who have gotten better over time, and then you have the Orochis who now come back after all these years with the same moveset, how are they possibly going to be in the same league as those who have gotten better over time? I just believe that the Orochi fighters are not as strong as people make them out to be. But hey, That's just my opinion, based on the lore and based on the information that they give us. If they've given me any other reason, for instance, maybe one victory that these heavenly kings have had, then I would take that. For instance, Genets defeated Rugal easily, ripped out his eye, and even defeated Kyo in a one-on-one battle. Therefore, I can conclude that Genets, one of the heavenly kings, is actually stronger than the other characters. But Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris, they've defeated no one but the American sports team. So you'll forgive me if I don't believe that Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris can defeat Ryo Sakazaki or Terry Bogard. And you'll also forgive me if I don't believe that their awakened forms can defeat them either, because their awakened forms lost. In spite of the fact that this is one of my favorite teams, the evidence does not show us that they are able to hang with these OG fighters who have been getting stronger and stronger over the course of over 20 years while they have been dead. What happens in King of Fighters 15 is going to be interesting because for the first time we have all 4 of them available, but we'll see.